Broadcasting from the heart of the Colorado Rockies, it's 4th&99 with your hosts, David Slade, Keith Brugman, and Matt Stappiero. Now let's talk football here on 4th&99.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to 4th&99. I'm your host, Matt Stappiero. With me, as always, David Slade and Keith Brugman. We've got another great show planned for you today. Before we dive into today's show, 4th&99 is brought to you by Willow Seasonings and Blends, LLC. Put a little spice back into your life. Hey, guys. How's it going?
Great. How you doing, Matt?
We're doing all right. We're working on trying to get us looking all professional. We got the intro, the new logo. It's feeling good, man. 4th&99 is really starting to break out of its shell and reach its full potential. So I know I'm excited. I mean, you guys are excited. And, I mean, we're coming off a Broncos win. I don't know how life could get much better right now. I don't know. I mean, we got to hope that it doesn't come crashing down this Sunday when Philly comes to town. But we're going to ride the high until then, right?
That's right.
Absolutely, man. I'm coming in here. I'm already excited. I'm excited off the game. Then you come in. We got all the new graphics, the new intros. You got stats. You got we got a whole new look for everybody. It's like a whole new show. It's like a whole new Broncos team from what we've seen on Sunday. I'm pumped about it, buddy. I can't get any less pumped. How's that?
I'm feeling pumped. I'm fired up, man. I mean, we got the orange. We got the lighting now. I mean, it's just great.
You see what happens when Vaughn's gone?
We're working on some segments for you coming up in the next coming weeks. It's just going to be great. We got a great show, a lot of stuff in the works.
Vaughn's gone, and this all happens. That's a good.
This all happens when Vaughn leaves.
I guess so. Maybe maybe we benefited from the Vaughn departure as well. No, I'm kidding.
No, we definitely.
Let's start talking some Broncos. We're starting our first segment. We've had this every week. We're finally going to brand it as Coach's Corner. And we're going to talk about exactly, kind of what our thoughts of were last week and kind of what we're going to have to see moving forward. As this Denver Broncos team is in the thick of it now. We are right there. Pretty much the divisions within grasp, wild cards within grasp. Let's break down last week's coaching a little bit. Let's start with the offense. Keith, what's your thoughts on how Shermer's game plan went out last week? Oh, I think you're muted, Keith.
I'm unmuted now. Can't keep me muted. Not when it's an offense like that, because we went out there and he went out there and he put together the game plan we've all been wanting. We saw runs and we saw dedication to the run. We didn't stop. We didn't stop in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. We just kept going. We kept that run going. Not only that, and Mr. David Slade pointed out on the post-game show, you should have caught it if you didn't. But he said, we just put the quarterback battle to rest. It's done. It's over with. You go back and you look at the tape, man, they were just dropping. He was dropping in passes left and right, tight windows, nice touch passes. Teddy looked fantastic out there. He commanded the offense, the one that was put together perfectly. And what do we do? We get on here every single week, and we have lots to talk about when it comes to the coaches, and it's never good. Well, this week we got plenty to praise, baby.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. This is the first week since week 3, where I can't come out and bash Pat Shurmur. I cannot. I am lost for words. You hit the nail on the head. We've been pounding the table for more runs. 20. I think it ended up being 21 for Gordon and 17 for Javonte. Maybe I haven't flipped. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but we haven't seen that many runs all season, so it's great. What's your thoughts on how this offense performed last week with the run game, Dave? And do you think this can carry over into next week when we're facing Philly or this Sunday?
First of all, I want to wish Teddy Bridgewater a happy birthday. Today's his birthday, so I want to make sure we get that out there to him. It is Drew Lock's birthday as well, too, and I'll go a little one further than Coach Fangio did today and say happy birthday to Drew as well. So, but just to I love the way we ran the ball. It's something we've all been talking about. I think it is something we can sustain. we definitely, you know, have the offensive linemen and linemen would rather run block than pass block uh, all day long. So um, I think this is something that needs to be built into our plans going forward. We need to make sure that, you know, running the ball needs to be our number one priority because we all saw how it set Teddy Bridgewater in that passing game up for success.
You know, absolutely. You brought up Drew Lock. I'll give him his birthday present now. Drew Lock, I will not flog you today. There's no lock flogging happening today. So happy birthday, Drew. I had to get that out there. Had to give him his birthday present early. With that being said, let's move to the defense real quick. We talked about Vic Fangio and the overuse of the blitz and lack of creative pressure, including the interior pressure. We talked about. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. I have a little kid giving me a present. Thank you. Love you too. It's bedtime in the Steffiero household. Well, about to be. So apologies for that. Thank you for brushing your teeth.
I'm ready for bed too. So
absolutely. So back to what I was saying. We were talking about Vic Fangio and the lack of interior pressure and creative blitz, the overuse of just sending, you know, all the dogs and stacking the box, getting beat over the top on 3rd and short. We've seen it a couple times in the Las Vegas game, in the Baltimore game. I mean, I hate to keep going back that far, but it's just been an ugly product on that over those consecutive losses. It got better with Washington, and it got even better in Dallas. So what does Vic Fangio need to do this Sunday where Philadelphia has a running quarterback like we faced in Baltimore? Jalen Hurts is definitely mobile. They have a solid run game with Jordan Howard. And while they don't have the cream of the crop receivers, they have some guys that can get over the top in Jalen Reagor and Devonta Smith. What does Vic Fangio need to do this Sunday, Dave, to keep them under control?
I think we need to do more of the same. We have to blitz smartly. And it's something we talked about in the pregame against Dallas. You know, we have to use the blitz. We were having problems getting there with 4, but now it seems like we were able to put some pressure on with just 4, but we were also more creative with the blitzes. And I've thought about this a little bit more, and I asked you guys this question earlier or on the post-game show. Do we think maybe Vaughn was part of the problem? And I've thought about it more. Maybe too much of the game plan on defense was being built around Vaughn. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, I think you bring up, you know, a solid point here. We talked about Vaughn in 2015, and then we talk about the Vaughn we got after. We talk about the Vaughn when Vic came over, and I don't know, maybe we kind of touched on this a little, I think last Wednesday. Was there some tension maybe between Vaughn and Vic? Vic came in and essentially said, I need to see better from Vaughn. Vaughn needs to perform better, this and that. And I mean, I don't know, was it just a personality clash that maybe was the lack of production and eventually led to him being disgruntled? And, you know, and when you start players not wanting to give 110%, those young guys are super impressionable. I mean, we've all been young and dumb, and you know, when your buddy slacks off in math class or whatever, you're like, I'm going to slack off in math class. It's just the vibe that kind of goes through a locker room, even being you know, a high school athlete. When you know, the star player pops off and gets sassy, you want to carry that mentality. You got the Ray Lewis's, who's, you know, I'm a big dog on campus, I'm going to be rowdy, and then your team's fired. It's just a follow. And Vaughn was kind of thrusted into that leadership role, whether he wanted it or not, by Vic. And you know, you hear the radio host here constantly call out like he was a quiet leader. He really wasn't the vocal guy of that locker room. So I don't know. I definitely think Vaughn may have been a part of the problem. And we see these young guys who are hungry and ready to be the big dog on campus. Jonathan Cooper's doing pretty nicely so far. That's where I'm
I think.
How about you, Keith?
I just think people had less pressure on him with Vaughn gone. You know, I think they were able to just do what they need to do. So,
absolutely. For me, it was one, that pressure's gone because, again, you're not like that. Like as Matt said, you're kind of deferring. But to me, I'll go back to it. It's kind of like being the golden child, right? This guy was anointed in that room. He was the Pro Bowler. He was the Super Bowl 50 winner. He was He was the guy who had the camps every summer. You know what I mean? He was supposed to be the guru on the team, and so I think everyone kind of deferred to him in leadership. And I don't think that was exactly who Vaughn is. I think back to when we brought Brian Dawkins in. Brian Dawkins is a vocal leader on the field. He's going to tell you exactly what's what on the field, and you never saw that from Vaughn. He was not that type of guy. So to me, that's it. That's where it kind of comes in. I think he was anointed, and everyone deferred to him, and everyone, I'll go back to my my little league days. We had a running back that was the coach's son. Coach's son could do no wrong. And I think there was a little bit in that too. So, all of a sudden that's gone. Everyone's playing with a lot of fire.
Yeah, real quick, you did hit the nail on the head about how, Vaughn he is a leader and he always will be respected here in Broncos country. I don't think any of us are trying to find a dig against him like, oh, he was the problem. But sometimes it's just the unhappiness is enough to carry over and cause a problem without any words being said. Vaughn was a stellar person in the community for his entire career here. I mean, there's so many different charities that he's done. I mean, the dude's a hero, but sometimes when you're tired of losing and you feel like your good years were wasted, your lack of maybe effort on the field carries over, and it's a silent thing that it's just that negative energy. And I think you kind of hit that on the nail, Dave and Keith, both of you guys. But it's going to be interesting to see where it goes now with that pressure lifted. I mean, real quick, we seen Vic Fangio use Caden Stearns effectively last week, and Dave, I want to bring up a guy because I know we talked about it a little bit. We were kind of hesitant about Kenny Young when he when we traded for him, and then after his press conference, he was kind of negative. But I mean, that negativity doesn't seem to translate to the field in my eyes. What's your thoughts on Kenny Young's impact on this Broncos defense so far?
I think his impact is huge. I mean, his energy level is just out of this world. I mean, the guy is sideline to sideline, just ripping, back and forth. The guy's everywhere. He's all over the field. He's around the ball, and is just a great energy level that picks up the other guys, and I think that's another thing that this defense needed was somebody to just really go out there and give us that boost with that energy. And I think Kenny Young does that. I mean, I know he had that press conference, and I think a lot of it was misunderstood that he said, oh, well, I don't really want to be here. And that's not what he said, but the media tried to flip it that way.
I agree.
He just said, I was sort of shocked, and he didn't want to be traded. He wanted to be at the Rams. Why wouldn't you want to stay on a team, that was what, 6-1 at the time or whatever their record was? Everyone wants to be on a winner. So I don't blame him one bit for coming out and saying that. But you know what? Since he's got here, he has done nothing but play football, and he's played football very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say, in fact, he said, I'm in a contract year. Kind of just getting back to, what the defense did and what we need to continue to do. It's trust in that defense and continue to have that fire. I mean, we went out there, and from the very first play where we had to come up and get a 4th down stop, when they decided to go on 4th down, it was like midfield. Who came up there and just jammed it up and stopped it? Justin Simmons, a guy that we'd kind of written off and has been coming back week after week after week. We talked about him being a leader. We just need to continue to have that passion, and Vic Fangio needs to continue to have the trust in his guys. He trusted them to be in one-on-one coverage. He trusted to send blitzes he wasn't sending before and mix up coverages. There was even a few stunts in there, guys. It was amazing. It was a great game plan, and he just needs to trust his guys. May not be the same game plan, but he needs to trust them.
Absolutely. One more quick question, because on the coach's corner, because this has been a praise because it was such a great performance defensively. I mean, offensively, of course, it could be a little bit better, but it was efficient, and that's what we needed to see offensively. But back to this defense, and you kind of got my gears moving here with the whole with the Von Miller and the energy. We highlighted this a little bit during the post-game show that this was the most energy Vic Fangio's had. Do you think maybe that there was so much tension between the two of them that this defense just could not overcome that? Because Vic was smiling, there was fist pumps, and the defense was better. Like we said, it was well coached. It was well organized. Constructed blitzes, stunts across the D line. We've hit them all on the head of these wonderful things we've seen. Do we think maybe the tension being lifted off of Vic is going to allow him to maybe be a better coach now? Dave, what's your thoughts?
I think a lot of it is maybe George Payton coming out and giving these guys the vote of confidence. I mean, all you heard about in the media, when does the axe drop? When is Shermer gone? When is Vic gone? When is everybody gone? And George came out at his press conference after the trade deadline and say, hey, this is my guy. He's the reason I came here, and he has confidence in him. And then he gave the same ringing endorsement to Pat Shermer. So I think maybe that sort of took a little bit of the tension off the coaching staff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Keith, do you have any other thoughts, or are you pretty line with Dave?
Yeah, pretty much in line. I'll 100% agree, man. Yeah, I think it's defense. The defense needs to continue to play like they've been playing. The only thing I'd say with the Vaughn and the coaches, again, going back, Super Bowl MVP, having all the camps, I think a lot of people deferred to him as the coach, and maybe with Vaughn gone, Vic Fangio is now the coach instead. So kind of along those lines.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Brianna Beast brings up a great point here. Cooper and Weatherly, they were hungry and they got the opportunity to play almost the whole game. I forget what the percentage was. I think Cooper was up in the 90s for percentage of snap counts, and I think Weatherly may have been as well.
Yeah, they were both out there majority of the game. Aaron Patrick took a couple sub-ins, but for majority of the game, it was Cooper and Weatherly in those edge spots, and they played well. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play this week. I mean, Dak is considered somewhat mobile. I mean, since the injury, he's stayed home a lot more. But it'll be interesting to see how the coaches as well as these young edges really play this Sunday. Right. Well, we kind of beat coaches to death. Let's switch over to something else it's kind of the doom and gloom of the show and the injury report. Because unfortunately, there were a lot of injuries this past Sunday, and some of them are going to be having lasting effects, unfortunately. Yeah. We'll start with the big one. And some people consider this a huge one. Some people are like, he may have been on his way out. We've heard local media, but either way, it's a bummer that he got hurt the way he did. And that's offensive guard Graham Glasgow. He suffered a leg fracture and will be missing the remainder of the season. Man, I mean, let's just, hope for him to get healthy. The dude's an ironclad vet. I mean, the dude's nasty when he's getting the trenches and when he's actually healthy. So that's definitely the first one. It's looking like it's going to be a battle between Netani Moody and Quinn Meinerz. We'll kind of touch on them a little bit later in the show. But that was the biggest one. We unfortunately lost another offensive lineman we don't have a timetable yet. I'm hearing 2+ weeks, and that's Bobby Massey. And it's going to be interesting to see how we fill that position. There was some good news on Patrick Surtain. The knee injury was not as bad as initially feared. It ends up being just a knee sprain. He sat out of practice today, but it was rumored that there is a possibility that he could play Sunday. And I want to kind of highlight and focus on this one real quick, because we talked about this with Teddy Bridgewater earlier in the season. We talked about this with Bradley Chubb at the beginning of the season. And this coaching staff and this training staff has a tendency to possibly send some guys out too soon. With Philly's receiving core, like we kind of mentioned, they're not cream of the crop, but they can get you. But with the bye week so close, is the smart move to play Patrick Surtain now or let him sit through the bye? Keith, what's your thoughts?
I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and I'm putting him out there. I think we're on a roll. If he gets the clearance to go ahead and get the nod, and they're saying he can go out there and take snaps and be on the field, and he's maybe got a practice in, or, hopefully 2, but, at least got 1 practice in. I say roll out there, because, this is the last thing you want to do is come off the high of getting that Cowboys win and go into the, have the Eagles at home and then end up losing to them. In my opinion, I roll them out there, but I'm also of a different opinion than probably you and Dave. I don't think we've been rolling people out earlier than expected. I don't think Teddy was hurt when we were playing in the last couple of weeks. I think literally it was just a game plan of the offensive line just was letting the defense run roughshod right over the top of them. And, that's Teddy's reaction is either fumbles or interceptions or throwing away the ball or taking sacks. So I'm just in a different opinion. So if he's cleared, I say we get him out there and let him perform.
Yeah, definitely have a difference of opinions on a couple of things, Keith. But that's what we're here for, here to disagree.
Yeah, it would be boring if we all agreed.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely not. So. I do think we rushed Teddy Bridgewater out. I know that's not part of the segment, but I mean, average heel time for a concussion, and I mean that was a nasty hit. Plus, he got rushed back. I mean, factoring on the Las Vegas game, the dude was beaten down, couldn't even get down off the podium at the interview, and we're asking him to come out on a short week. We'll have to agree to disagree, but concussions cruise with your clarity. Before that concussion, Teddy Bridgewater was as efficient could be when it came to those interceptions. All of his interceptions came after that concussion. So
against the good teams, okay, I got it. Against the good teams, and not the. Okay, I got it.
He looked pretty darn good against the Dan Quinn and the one of the top defenses this week. We'll see how he plays against Philly.
Because the concussion's worn off. I got it. Yeah, okay.
And it was a better game plan. I'll give you that. 110%. Way better game plan. But we will see where it goes. We'll see what happens in Philly. Dave, what's your thoughts on this Patrick Surtain issue? Are we? Is it a bad move to throw him out there Sunday, or do we let him sit?
It really depends on what his knee's like. I mean, if he can go out and practice Thursday, Friday, then you put him out there and you watch him. Maybe even you make him a game time decision. I'm really not sure. It is a perfect time for this injury because it comes right before the bye. So yeah, if you want to rest him, Fuller played well last week. Darby played well. Maybe you can give PS2 a break and let him have some extra time over the bye week to heal up.
Oh, absolutely. See, I'm on the side. It's a knee sprain. That means the knee, there's inflammation. We've seen non-contact injuries be increased by a significant percentage for several consecutive years. He's got the inflammation, and this is why you kept Kyle Fuller. This is why you paid Kyle Fuller $10 million to be here. This is why you didn't just dump him for the 7th round pick. This is exactly why he's here. If not, he's just a $10 million paperweight. Let's be real. That's what he is, because he's not very good at playing nickel. So with him, kicking inside to cover BC's spot, doesn't make sense. Surtain is the face of this this young defense here. He's going to be the face.
Yeah, and so get him out there and let him be the face of this defense.
What happens if he goes out
now? I've seen guys with bigger injuries go out there and play through. We're talking if he's getting clearance, if he's getting practice, there's no reason to let him sit, go through the bye, hope he comes back, hope we have some momentum. No, if he's cleared, he's playing. Get him out there.
Let's say he misses practice tomorrow.
Hey, let's find out what happens this week and talk about it Sunday morning.
That's fair. Well, let's say he's just quick.
You just won't give it up, will you?
He hasn't practiced till now. If he misses Thursday and he only practices Friday and get to walk through on Saturday, are we still comfortable with that?
That depends on the medical trainers. We're not the medical trainers.
That's fair.
Hey, Dave, how about this? If we quit talking about it, are you on my side?
Yes.
Of course. Dave, of course. All right, moving on to the other injuries. I already know he's missed the Dallas game. Garrett Bowles has not practiced yet. He was sat out of practice today. So it's not looking promising for him to make his return this week either, which does make the Massey injury a tad bit more frightening for us. I mean, Cam Fleming and Calvin Anderson came in and played well, but if one of them goes down, we're talking 5th string tackle area now. So we'll continue to update you on Garrett Bowles. All right, switching from injuries to COVID, because that unfortunately we've seen an uptick in things here in Colorado and especially around the Broncos. Noah Fant and Netani Moody have both been cleared to return. They both were at practice today. Drew Lock has not been cleared to return. So there is a slight possibility we'll be without the backup quarterback come this Sunday, which is always frightening because, as healthy as Teddy's been, he's been beat up this year a couple different times. And I mean, we I don't know how much faith we all have in Brett Rippon, but we've seen him beat the Jets.
Wait.
I don't know if we can beat the Eagles.
Hey, can you repeat that, Matt? You're the guy who said we should just ship Drew out of here and have Rippon as our backup.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this lately, and after seeing, the way Teddy went down, and, if he was gone for several consecutive weeks, I don't believe Brett Rippon would have been a quality option. So I'm happy we kept him for now.
Oh, okay.
I am happy for that. I'll give you that. Drew Lock, there's a little bit of praise. That's all you're getting from me. But
birthday, jeez,
real quick.
Yeah, come on, it's his birthday,
I'll try
man.
not to vlog the kid today, guys. But if we Drew Lock, the gears start turning, I'll find something to nitpick with him being on the bench. We know I will. Yeah, so Teddy Bridgewater has remained negative. He's still wearing his mask. He's following all protocols. So thankfully that's okay. Health is never something we want to play with. COVID's serious. All these injuries we talked about are serious. So we just hope, everyone from Glasgow down to Teddy B can remain healthy and get back to their health. But man, it's tough. I'm really feeling for Graham Glasgow right now. I mean, he came back from the heart issue earlier this year. He's battled through a hip issue, and to see him just go down like that, he was clearing lanes. We were talking about pulling guards and stuff, Keith, on the post-game show, and the dude was wrecking havoc in the run game, and it's going to be a tough loss.
Yeah. Obviously, like you said, leader out there as well. It's no different than the Garrett Bowles. We all have to have those young guys step up, and step up like they did in Dallas. That was fantastic. Going back to Dave, run the ball. Just run the ball, because when you run the ball, those offensive linemen love it. They're running downhill. They don't have to worry about backing up. They don't have to be worried about getting caught off the edge. Worst thing they have to worry about is if they actually are the guy that has to pull across the line and make sure that they pick up that guy and that other guy switching over and getting that block. But you know what? It's simple. It's simple. Keep running the ball. The young guys have stepped up. And like I said, in the post game, for me, it was man plus, because it wasn't just, hey, we got another man out there. He did pretty good. We made our way. No, we had guys going down left and right, and guys went in, and not only did they just fill the spot, they were performing in that spot. So more of that. Hopefully we got momentum to do it.
Absolutely. And I mean, it would be unfair to highlight those guys that you mentioned and not throw Calvin Anderson a bone for stepping in the way he did. I don't know if you guys seen the tweet that he did. It was like it was in regards to the Broncos victory, and it was like the doubters, and he just has like his thumb down. He's got like a ton of like marketing stuff available after this tweet. He's just like staring down the camera, and there's like memes everywhere about it. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, but Calvin Anderson stepping into the spotlight, guys. I know we were worried about right tackle next year as Bobby Massey is in a contract year. We may have found the next man up, but we'll talk about the next man up here in a minute. But let's go to our next segment, because this one's going to take a chunk of time, because I know we're going to.
I just want to throw in one more thing, really.
Oh, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
And let me just throw in one more injury, Matt. I was just looking, and Dalton Reisner is also questionable. So if Dalton Reisner can't go, we may have one of our original 5 starters playing, and that would be Cush. Surrounded by 4 backups. But so let's hope Reisner. I know I saw him holding his arm during the game. I don't know exactly what the injury is. So, but
yes, that is correct. He may be. You did highlight my brain juices. There's one other injury that we did not talk about. Albert O also re-aggravated an injury in Dallas. He actually went out and was not able to return. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that today. He did not practice today.
And I've got just one last one too. If you guys didn't realize, I know it was kind of an older one. Duke Dawson came off the POP list and then was released. So that was kind of.
I see. Look, we planned this segment earlier, but just highlighted a couple of transaction things. We didn't plan to talk about transactions.
Yep.
Mac McCain, who the Broncos had left on the practice squad, was waived by Philadelphia. The Broncos put a claim on him, so now he's on the active 53. Duke Dawson has re-signed with the Broncos on the practice squad.
Oh, very good. Very good. I was like, wow.
So George Payton is definitely keeping those plethora of cornerbacks that I think he's about 10 cornerbacks. So we've got a pretty solid list there. I mean, when you get down to your fifth and sixth inside linebacker, your third and fourth offensive tackle, I guess it's good to have 10 in one position. So
right, Matt.
where it goes.
Time to pay the bills, Matt.
Hey, man. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next segment, as I know this is going to definitely start some conversation between all of us. We got the QB or not to be. This has been a kind of a question that's been unanswered for 5 consecutive seasons now, heading into 6th. At the beginning of the season, nobody thought Teddy Bridgewater could potentially be a long-term solution. Even the Broncos' actions somewhat supported that claim. He had 2 years left on his deal when he came over from Carolina. They voided out the final year, so he's on a 1-year deal now. But looking at Teddy Bridgewater through this season, while it's been up and down, I'll kind of highlight some stats. He has 2,163 passing yards this far on the season, which is 11th. He's got 14 touchdowns on the season, which is 13th. He's only got 6 interceptions, which is in the bottom third of the league. He's got a 70.2 completion percentage, with only Russell Wilson, who has less than 100 passing attempts, and Kyler Murray at 72.75%, who has about 20 less passing attempts in a full game less because of an injury, have a higher completion percentage. He's averaging 101.2 rating per game, which sits him at 10th. He is 19th in QBR. Once again, QBR factors in sacks and things that are counted towards the quarterback. It's a different metric. But for the most part, this is the first time in 65, almost 6 years, we've had a quarterback come out in the top 15 of almost anything. He's essentially in the top half of the league in every single category. Like I said, it's been ugly, but he's performed better than he ever has. So the question is another year of Teddy Bridgewater a possibility?
Is another year of Teddy Bridgewater possible? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we're talking about another year with Teddy Bridgewater. We're talking about a guy that should be looked at for a multiple year contract, in my opinion. I don't think that, again, a Minnesota injury was years ago. He sits down and he learns behind Drew Brees. He goes out and performs admirably when asked in New Orleans. He goes to the Carolina Panthers, where I'm starting to think quarterbacks go to die, because things aren't too good over in Carolina this year either. And I think he's always shown he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks out there as far as pass percentage is concerned. He may not have the longest arm and the biggest arm, but man, the guy's got a head. He understands the game. He's learned from some of the best. We're not talking about 1 year, in my opinion. I would be fine with a 2-year contract, a 3-year contract, just depending upon how he plays out the rest of the season.
Boy, sounds like Keith's ready to go all Mark Schlereth, 5-year, $57 million deal, like Schlereth was ready to go with Trevor.
Maybe I'm going to put a pause real quick, Dave, because I'm going to shift the question a tad, and I'm shifting it for you because I kind of know where you stand a little bit.
Okay.
So we've seen Teddy Bridgewater. I highlighted where he's at. Broncos have been tied to every veteran quarterback you could think of for this offseason. We're hearing Aaron Rodgers. Dan Patrick himself said, the Broncos they traded Von Miller to get the compensation needed to get Aaron Rodgers. Broncos are being tied to Deshaun Watson. They're being tied to Russell Wilson, possibly. Matt Ryan, who knows, maybe on that list by then. It's a possibility. But based on what you've seen right now, we've secured this great amount of high value. Is it worth throwing away what Teddy Bridgewater has done this far getting away from the rookie quarterback path again and going down this path of veteran quarterback?
Absolutely not. There's only one guy I would go after, and that would be Deshaun Watson, because as long as all of his legal issues are cleared up, Deshaun Watson is the only one that maybe has 10 years left in him. Aaron Rodgers is a 2 or 3 year guy, and you're back in the same situation. Matt Ryan, how long does Matt Ryan want to be around? I would rather us stick with Teddy another year. Let's position ourselves to draft a quarterback in this draft, and go from there. And let's see if we can develop it, and let's do this thing right for once and get us a quarterback, that we can develop and grow this franchise around.
All right, we're going to switch the question a little bit more and send it back to Keith. So we're going to keep in this hypothetical sense. Broncos get to 9-8, 10-7, 11-6. They sneak in. They get the division. They get a wild card. Vic Fangio and Pat Shurmur are safe. Do you stick it through and want to go the Teddy Bridgewater and rookie quarterback record with Pat Shurmur's track record and rookie quarterbacks? Is this something you want to bring a weak quarterback class? Let's be real. That's what it is. There's rumors quarterbacks may slide out of the top 5, with Matt Corral being most often picked around pick 8 in a lot of mock drafts right now. Is this an environment you want to bring a young quarterback back into after we've seen how Drew Lock was handled?
Again, I'll just go back to Teddy Bridgewater himself. I look at it as you have to do one of 3 things if you're the Denver Broncos. You make a 3-year investment in Teddy Bridgewater. You make a 3-year investment in some veteran who's going to come in like a Aaron Rodgers and only give you maybe 3 good years. Or you're going to go ahead and you're going to go to the draft, and you know that it's going to take about 3 years before you get that quarterback on the field operating like you should. Like the great Mike Shanahan said, give me 3 years. I told you it'd take 3 years. It takes 3 years to get a quarterback into the system. And I think that's true, just not of a Shanahan system, but most systems. So for me, it's choose your poison or choose your pleasure, I guess you could say, whichever way you look at it. I don't see a great quarterback class coming out this year. So why invest in a quarterback class? I don't want to go ahead and go pay an Aaron Rodgers or some other huge contract that's going to tie us down. So it leaves us with an option, and it's a great option. You roll Teddy Bridgewater out there for the next 2 or 3 years, and then we wait to see what that quarterback class looks like, or maybe if a veteran comes up that's a better deal like we got with Peyton Manning. I don't want to overpay. So for me, it's Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay. So just to make sure I got a good understanding, you'd rather roll with Teddy Bridgewater, let's say give him a 3-year deal, allow Teddy this is Teddy's team for 2 seasons. Look at that rookie quarterback possibly heading into year 3. Is that what you'd rather do?
You push it down the road at least 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah. If all of a sudden you're a 2-15 team the next year and you're sitting at the top of the draft board, you don't go, well, we're going behind Teddy and we're going to go 1 more year. But I don't expect that. I feel that Teddy Bridgewater can be that guy. He's not that old. He's the same age as Derek Carr, came out in the same draft class as Derek Carr. We wouldn't be throwing away Derek Carr and saying we need to get rid of him if we had Derek Carr. And I think he has just as much ability, again, not the arm, but he has the mental capability and he has the ability to run this offense if given the chance. Give him a chance.
All right. That's a good point. Dave, would you rather take the quarterback? We've said I'm in agreement. I think another year, at least 1 more year of Teddy is the route to
go. I agree. Another year of Teddy, you have to have it. I don't want to go the veteran route. I think I've made myself clear on that. You roll with Teddy 1 more year. If a guy you like is available in the draft, you take him. But you don't just take a quarterback to take a quarterback and hope you can develop him. It has to be somebody that you know is going to fit and is going to work. And it's slim pickings in this draft, like we said. So, yeah, I mean, sign Teddy to a 2 or 3 year deal, but you don't have to guarantee the whole thing. Maybe you sign him to a 3-year deal where you got 2 years and then the 3rd year's a option year or something like that, or you can get out if you found a rookie quarterback or something.
Oh, okay. Is there a rookie quarterback, Dave, that's catching your eye this far?
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I agree. I do think there is a quarterback, and I think your draw may drop when you hear me say this, Dave, and who I think the Denver Broncos need to target. And it's because he is sliding, but I mean he's he's playing in North Carolina right now, and he's had kind of a down year, but he was at one point the number one pick that was supposed to be the number one quarterback in this class, and that's Sam Howell.
Yeah, and
I think Sam Howell is the quarterback you invested if he's there.
It's like I wrote last weekend. The guy lost a boatload of talent. I mean, two NFL running backs. Yeah, 2 NFL running backs and 2 NFL receivers. And then he lost some other guys to injury and transfer. So, Sam Howell sort of had it, but he just knocked
regressed. I mean, it's just been a bad situation on North Carolina. But we seen them play extremely well against, stacked competition at times. So that's where I'm going. But before we kind of wrap up QB or not to be, there is a quarterback, a veteran out there who is young, and there's not been a commitment made to him. We talk about that crucial year 3 when it comes to these rookie deals for these first-round quarterbacks. We talk about it all the time. That's usually when the extension happens.
Yeah, please don't say
it. Josh Allen, we're likely going to see it happen with like Kyler Murray. We've seen it happen with Lamar Jackson. It's that year 3.
Please don't say it.
There's a quarterback in Cleveland who did not get the extension.
Don't say it, Matt.
He did get his fifth year option picked up, so he does have another year past this year on the books. Is Baker Mayfield worth taking a look at if Cleveland's willing to let him go for a second-round pick? You got an additional one with losses like Von Miller and Califonatis and this being such a heavily stacked defensive draft. Is a second round for Baker Mayfield worth it?
Hey, do you know if we have an additional third-round pick?
We do.
I might be willing to get rid of an additional third-round pick.
Yeah, I'd probably give up a third round. I'm not going to give up second round for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I'm not investing in Baker Mayfield. I just don't want to be in a bad situation. You know what I mean? We don't need to pile up salary in a QB if we already have a starter.
Yeah, he's erratic.
The salary would probably be pretty close to what you'd probably play Teddy Bridgewater.
I'd rather have Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, so Teddy Bridgewater over Baker Mayfield.
Yes.
All right. Well, thankful. This might be the first time we've ever all agreed on something when it came to the quarterback position. I mean, hell might have just froze over, guys. I was expecting this to be like 3 additional minutes here, and you're taking the steam out of it. Am I going to have to switch my answer and go with Baker Mayfield now? Just to
we just got to roll on.
I'll say this: if if Teddy Bridgewater would have never came in, Drew Lock would have been our QB, and we were going down the Drew Lock path. I could see myself being tempted into a Baker Mayfield.
Absolutely.
Again, because they have a very similar makeup, but it seems like maybe Baker Mayfield has a little bit more ability to hone it in and get to his receivers and be on target and have some timing in the offense and read past his first read. And I'll just keep never mind. It's his birthday, so I'll leave it at that. But for me, yeah, if that was who was running our offense, then yeah. If not, with Teddy Bridgewater, no, you don't bring in Baker Mayfield. You're right with Teddy.
Hey, I think we're gonna rock the boat, and we're on the Teddy. We're on the Teddy train right now. Let's see where he goes the rest of the season. We still got a lot of football left, but as of right now, based on what we've seen this season, while it's been ugly and it does need a lot of support from your defense, and it needs an efficient play calling, and hopefully Pat Shurmur can put that together. And if not, hopefully we can find someone who will. The one thing though, back to Baker Mayfield real quick, you cannot doubt this dude's toughness. I mean, the dude's got a torn labrum. He's dislocated his shoulder. Dude's out there slanging it still.
Yeah, I mean,
they did just thwart the Bengals.
I'm not taking his toughness into account. I'm not questioning his toughness.
Oh no, I just want to give him some credit for that because that's a feat. Nothing in terms of him versus Teddy or we're bashing him. That's just something of its own, dude. I mean, that's labrum and.
Buana Beast brings up one other quarterback, and that's Carson Strong. And I think that's another quarterback out of Nevada that we need to watch in this draft class.
That is the one quarterback. Me and B1 are going to have to disagree. That is the one quarterback that I want to stay away from. Just inconsistency, immobile. Great arm though. The dude's arm is probably the best in the class. But there's some cloudiness in his judgment making. But we'll see. A lot of football left. And
big debate
sitting
coming
here
up
with Teddy
on that.
Bridgewater could clean that up.
All right.
Anyway. But anyway,
we all agree it's Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater for at least one more season in my.
I think it's funny that you're praising Baker Mayfield because of how tough he is when you don't want Teddy out there and you don't want Patrick Surtain out there. What are you talking about, man?
I get that.
Never let him on the field.
He's not on my team though. He's not on my team. He's not my quarterback.
Oh, so you don't care about player safety?
The Browns have a chance of losing.
So you don't care about player safety?
More options to get in there.
Is that what you're saying, Matt? You don't care about player safety?
Oh, it's not my job to make that call. Hey, that's not my job. If it's my guys, then I care. If it's their guys,
okay, all right.
It's not my job. It's not my problem. So. But anyways, all right. Well, moving on because we're going to be crashing the boards here. The next segment's Next Man Up. We talked about all these injuries earlier. We've already highlighted Calvin Anderson having to come in, Cam Fleming coming in. There's a possibility that we're going to have to roll both these guys out there this week. I wouldn't even say it's a possibility. It's probably a reality at this point. Are we confident in Anderson and Fleming having similar success to what we've seen in the second half against Dallas, against a pretty decent front seven of Philly? Montez Sweat's in there. They got, Josh Sweat. They have Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, I believe. I can't remember if he's back from his injury though. But do we see the same success from these guys in the run game? We'll start there. Dave, what do you think?
I don't see why not. I mean, I think Dallas has a tougher defensive front than Philadelphia does, and we had our way with them. So if we go out and execute the same kind of game plan, I think we can handle Philly's off our defensive front seven.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's all about the game plan. If you're going to go ahead and game plan for that particular team, and you're going to game plan for Philadelphia, the way I would do it kind of a little bit opposite. And I know this is going to sound like, oh no, we're going right back to what we've done. But I think you got to pass to open up the run a little bit on this game. Their secondary there is horrific. People have been putting up yards and points on Philadelphia almost every single week. So it's all about getting that air attack large enough to loosen up the alley and get the run game going. But I don't see any reason that what we did in Dallas can't be reproduced when Philadelphia comes to Mile High Stadium. Place is rocking. Not that Dallas Stadium wasn't. That was kind of funny too. But we'll have the whole place rocking, and why not? It absolutely can be a repeat performance. As long as the game plan stays true, we were still creative, and we game plan for the opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. You did say something that did scare me though. We've doubted weaker secondaries in the past, and we've seen Pat Shurmur fall into the same old trap of abandoning the run game because he thinks it's a better option to pass against a weaker secondary.
And that's what I was ready to ask Keith. Are you pulling out the panic sheet and that's your game plan?
Throw it away. Throw it, Dave. Throw it. He can't see that. No. Pat Shurmur cannot have the panic sheet. Dave, I'm cutting you off. I mean, Keith, I'm cutting you off. No panic sheet. I don't care if they get 7 points. If Pat Shurmur throws that panic sheet off, I might as well just turn the damn game off.
I think what Dave's worried about is my game plan from play number 1 through play number whatever it happens
15
to be.
Is the panic sheet.
No, I believe we still need to run the ball, Dave, and that's the difference. We just might have to utilize the passing game to open up the run. If I remember right, I heard the number right. If we have 38 runs against the Cowboys, that's phenomenal. That's a stat that we haven't hit. We haven't approached 30 and I don't know how long. I think the closest we had was a 27 and that was earlier in the year. So, we still need to run the ball, but we have to be not afraid to pass the ball in this offense in order to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. The magic number is I think 30 for Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think you should eclipse 30 passing attempts. And I think the magic number for rushing attempts is probably 27.
I think we need to just pound it. I mean, Philadelphia gives up almost 120 yards a game rushing.
Oh, yeah. They're
we went into Dallas. Dallas was only giving up 83 yards a game rushing. So we got to attack their weakness. And I understand their secondary is weak as well, but we got to, run the ball against these guys the way we did against Dallas. And I think that'll set up passing.
Absolutely, which leads us to our weakness right now, and that's offensive line. We've highlighted the Garrett Bowles injury. We've highlighted the Graham Glasgow injury. We highlighted the Dalton Reisner injury, the Bobby Massey injury, Calvin Anderson stepping in, Cam Fleming stepping in. And, Dave, you kind of hit the nail on the head. There's a possibility we see Netani Moody and both Quinn Miners have to play this week if Reisner can't, play or if he re-aggravates an injury. So there's a chance we could see an offensive line with only one starter across the five guys. And I think, who are you more confident in? Let's just say Reisner plays. Who are you more confident in giving the go? Moody, who's played well when he stepped in, or Miners after last week's performance in Dallas? Who are you going with, Dave?
I'm going to go with Miners. I think Miners a little more versatile. I think Mute's more of a brawler, and he's a good run blocker, but I think Miners can help us out both the run and the pass.
Absolutely. What about you, Keith? Who's your guy?
You give it to the belly, buddy. You give it to the belly and you let him run. Because if you look at that big run by Javonte Williams where you end up breaking through tackles, who was there? It was the belly, like 15 yards down the field, pushing him along, getting him broke out. He's versatile. He's quick. He can pull. He can step back and pass blocking. He showed it on Sunday. I give it to the belly.
I might have to agree with you guys, but I'm going to switch it up. I think Netani Moody is a better run blocker, and I think that's what Denver's strength needs to be. I think he's more consistent. I mean, granted, Miners came in and played well. He's never been asked to play a full NFL game. And it's a lot different, getting caught out of position. We don't know what type of things can be happening. There was concerns about his technique early, things that he was getting away with over at Wisconsin Whitewater that wouldn't fly here at the NFL level. Netani Moody, however, has been a dominant athlete playing in the Pac-12. The only reason why he slid was because of a nasty foot injury. He was technically graded as a second-round guard. The dude's a mauler. He's good in pass protection.
Right.
He doesn't.
He's adequate in pass protection. We saw, so many people when Glasgow was out and he was in. A lot of pressure was coming from that side of the interior. I think Miners is a better pass blocker.
We're going to have to see who they roll out. I do think they go with Miners, but I would not be surprised if we see him. If he does struggle, we see Moody go in.
Well, of course.
I will say that Quinn Miners is the hot hand, and I do think he is the starter, but he does have a short leash. And, I mean, unfortunately, we may have to see both of them out there, and that does concern me. And I think if we have to see both of them out there, you just trust that run. Hopefully we break 40 rushing attempts because throwing them all out there. Can you imagine Cush having to be the one who's directing all of the traffic and pass protection? The dude's barely getting his bearings on him now. He's played well this far, but that would be a scary sight.
Well, he's doing it now anyway.
Well, yeah, he's doing it now. This is
he'll just have different guys.
But he's also guiding around, grizzled vets, not
right.
First and second year guys and drafted guys. Right. Cam Fleming is his only.
You're in the NFL. Step up. Yeah. You're in the NFL. Next man up.
I'll be honest.
I'm not disagreeing.
Cushenberry looked the worst of our entire offensive line. Cushenberry looked the worst of our entire offensive line. So our rookies came in and played better. When I saw pressure on the quarterback, all the pressure was coming directly through Cushenberry. He was missing blocks. He couldn't. Don't get me wrong. They were sending some blitzes and by number 7 right up the middle sometimes. So that's a little bit to be asking. But at the same time, I'm tired of taking great players who have a lot of talent and not only that, a lot of passion and putting them on the sidelines. We've been saying run Javonte Williams, run Javonte Williams, run Javonte Williams. He's a ball of energy, and then we get away from the run, and then we're putting Gordon in, and before you know it, he only has 6-7 attempts in a game. No, you let those guys that are out there playing well, playing with passion. Again, that's my take. That's my take.
Yeah, and it's a solid take. And like I said, I do think they roll out Miners, but there's a possibility we may have to see Moody whether we want to or not, whether Miners is not having a repeat performance or Reisner re-aggravates his shoulder, or if he's even able to go, because at this point it's still kind of up in the air. Which leads to the last next man up, which will just be we'll treat this one as a quick hitter because we still got to get to predictions and stuff for next week. Real quick, that's a great point. After last week, my Vic Fangio vibes have gone up a tad, but we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. It's inching in a more favorable position. But the last guy in the next man up is going to be Kyle Fuller, the $10 million paperweight, in my opinion. So we've seen him come in and earn a game ball. He should repeat his performance. Does he repeat his performance if he's called upon? Keith, what's your thought?
If he's called upon, I think not only as if he has to be called upon, he has to have the game plan the same. Again, we are blitzing from the safety position, from the corner position, from linebacker position, and that we haven't seen that in the past. Typically, our single blitzes have been from a linebacker only, no corner, no safety. Now, if we wanted to go full hog out, yeah, we brought everybody at that point, but that was obvious as well. If they give him a similar game plan, it's similar to what he was at in Chicago. He looked much better in Chicago. He looked much better last week. They give him the same game plan, he should and will produce. If they go back to the old game plan, well, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's when we see Jalen Reagor burn us for 95-yard touchdown or something. So let's hope that they don't go back to that old game plan. Dave, just a yes or no answer. Does Kyle Fuller step up and show up?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. I have a yes or no question. Is this a must-win game?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to see who would get to it first. I left that there. I wanted the blank space. Absolutely a must-win game. Playoffs are on the line here. If Denver drops this game to Philly, the odds drop significantly as they will have to battle. We have 5 games against our divisional opponents throughout the after the bye. So it is I don't think there could be a more of a must-win game throughout the rest of the season, unless you're just fighting for your one playoff spot in the final game against Kansas City. But this is a huge game for Denver. And which leads us to our final segment. And I gave you guys a brief review of this. This is just our final thoughts on the week. Was there something you heard maybe that grinded your gears, that you really backed, or you just loved hearing out there in the NFL world today? We'll start with you, Dave. We'll go with Dave today.
You know it's really grinding my gears?
What's up?
Are these taunting penalties.
Okay.
That taunting penalty on Marsh from Chicago was that was just not taunting. I mean, he looked and walked towards the Chicago side or the Steelers sideline. He didn't get in anybody's face or anything. I think the officials are just getting carried away at these taunting calls.
Absolutely. Keith, what about yours?
Well, it's not a grind in my gears for Broncos fans. It's a grind in my gears for the Dallas fans. I alluded to it earlier. To have Denver show up in troves, to be visually hearing Denver Broncos throughout the end of the game in Dallas Stadium. Boy, I feel like I'm just riding high, knowing that they're just to get in their gears ground, knowing how well that we showed up, not only on the field, but in the stands down in Dallas.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something that grinded my gears this week. You might be the only one with the positive, but it's the diva culture of the wide receiver position. I as a former wide receiver myself, I understand it, but at the same time, it's getting out of control. And I'm highlighting the OBJ thing. I mean, your dad's getting involved. You're throwing fits. You're not wanting to show up to practice. Your coach is having to send you home. I mean, and then you throw out all these comments of, if I don't go to a contender, there's going to be problems. Whether that's you or your camp, I mean, you're a professional athlete. You're setting an image. You're an example. that's setting the example for these, not, these kids, if they don't go and be, the next big thing in college, but they go out and they're trying to, 15 years old and they don't get $16 an hour at McDonald's. You're teaching them that culture that it's okay to whine and throw a fit instead of work hard and put your money where your mouth is. And it really frustrates me. Really does, because these athletes are examples. And, life isn't always butterflies and rainbows. And sometimes you just got to deal with it. Like, I get you didn't want to be on the Browns, but throwing around the comments of, if I don't get my way, there's going to be problems. What are we, 5? Because I mean, our producer heard my 4-year-old throw a tantrum today, and she might have handled that a little bit better than OBJ did this week. So we'll go from there. That's what grinded my gears this week, and we'll see where it goes. The final segment we'll have is our predictions for tomorrow's game. We got the Ravens and the Dolphins, I believe, if my memory serves me correct. I'm going correct. Ravens. I have a feeling I know where this is going across the board, as we're in a neck and pick 'em. But I'm going Ravens. Keith, where are you going?
Man, you have no faith in, the Dolphins.
She was out, just so you know.
Yeah, I know, but it's I'm just kidding, man. Of course, Ravens. I'm going Ravens.
All right, mic drop on that one. What about you, Dave?
I'm going to go Ravens.
Oh, yeah.
Even if Tua was playing, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Ravens, we've seen what they did to us. We've seen them stay hot. Hey, we've seen it was the week of upsets last week. Maybe we'll be wrong, but at least if we're wrong, we'll all be wrong. And I inch a little bit closer back to my top spot and pick them. So we'll see where it goes.
Good luck, buddy. I'm rooting for you, believe me.
Real quick, guys, it was great work with you guys today. Unless you guys have any other final thoughts, we're going to work on our new sign off and head that way. All right, guys.
No,
well,
I'm good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone tuning in.
Yeah, well, okay, guys. Well, I'm gonna work on my new thing here. Well, that wraps that up from all of us here at 4th&99. This episode was brought to you by the good people at Willow Seasonings and Blends LLC. Put a little spice into your life. A big thanks to my co-hosts Keith Brugman and David Slate, and we'll be back again on Sunday, November 14th at 9 a.m. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe on any or all of our many social media platforms. From all of us here at 4th&99, thank you for watching and engaging.